Hey guys, welcome back. So every month on the 1st I come out here and I check the tire pressure in my car with my handy dandy tire pressure gauge. So I just got done checking the tire pressure on this tire right here, and it was 4 psi below what I set it at a month ago. So I'm thinking, great, I picked up a nail. So I continued to check the tire pressure on this tire and the one over here and the one over here, and every single one was below 4 psi what I set it at. So I'm thinking, terrific, I've got 4 tire punctures. So I got out a flashlight and I started looking for a nail or whatever, and I can't find anything. So it just dawned upon me that it's winter and this cold weather has sapped an extra 3 psi out of my tires in a 30-day period for a total of 4 psi. So I wasn't really prepared to use my bicycle hand pump to do 4 psi on all these tires. Normally it's just 1 psi, and that's just a few pumps with this hand pump here. So I had to get out my air compressor, and I thought that would give me an opportunity to tell you guys about it. So last year, December 18th, I bought this air compressor here to clear out some lines on my evap system. And so I used it once for that, and then I've been using it every so often to air up some tires. And this little unit is such a, it's so nice, it's almost a pleasure to use. So when I researched these things, the first place I went was Harbor Freight. And I already had a 25% off coupon, so I'm ready to get out the door and go pick one up. I saw they had one for $69. It was a little pancake compressor. And then I started doing more research on it, and I found this one, and this is called an ultra quiet air compressor. I had never heard of this before, and I found this on the Walmart website, and I paid $150 for this, and it's a 1 horsepower, and it's got a 5-gallon steel tank. And so this is 3 times the cost of what I was expecting to pay for one of those Harbor Freight cheap jobbies. But I tell you what, this thing is the Cadillac of mini home air compressors. So based on my limited knowledge, the reason why I think these things are so quiet is because they use a dual piston setup, and so it only runs this motor at half the RPM as a traditional single piston compressor. I've used those single piston compressors my whole life, and you turn them on and my gosh, are those things loud, and they have so much vibration they'll even walk away on a concrete path if you don't pay attention. So let me give you a listen of what this thing sounds like. So I'll turn it on now. So it's got 0 psi in there, so it'll pump all the way up till it gets to about 100. And I am having to raise my voice a little bit so you guys can hear me. But if this was a traditional air compressor, there's no way in heck you would be able to hear my voice over the noise of the air compressor. Alright, let me shut this thing off. So this little thing is it's so much quieter than a traditional air compressor, and I just looked on the back of this motor for the specs, and it only uses 8 amps of electricity, and that's nice too because it uses a little bit less electricity than a traditional model. So I just got done airing up my tires to get back that 4 psi where it was at 30 days ago. So maybe you guys can get out there and check the air on your tires, and if you're going to go that far to do that, by all means, check the air in the spare tire. Now, I know what you're saying. Ain't nobody got time for that. But if you're any job worth doing is worth doing right. So pull the spare tire out, and if you've got one of these little temporary jobbies like I got here, it says right on here, it says inflate to 60 psi. Now, if you don't have an air compressor, I don't recommend pumping this up with that bicycle hand pump I've got over here. You know, take it down to the gas station and fill it up on their dime, because if this vehicle you're working on is your wife's or your girlfriend's or your daughter, if they have a roadside tire emergency and the spare tire is not up to snuff, you're going to hear about it, and the first thing they're probably going to say is, why didn't you check the spare tire? Okay, so if you're in the market in the future for an air compressor, go ahead and check these out. Just Google ultra quiet air compressor. Oh, by the way, this one is made by California Air Tools, and I went online to check to see if it was still available, and it's not. They've discontinued this 5-gallon tank, and they've only got a 2-gallon or an 8-gallon, and that's a little disappointing because this little thing is like the perfect size. And one other thing to mention is this model has a steel tank, and I wish I had gotten the aluminum tank. It would have been a heck of a lot lighter, and it would have been more resistant to corrosion when moisture builds up in the tank here. Okay, so that's my 1-year review of this California Air Tools air compressor. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.